interesting. All right, welcome to the show this morning. I'm your anchor for this edition, Chukwu Ebuka Ike, and I have with me in the studio Mr. Raphael Ojakombo. Mr. Raphael Ojakombo is a sports commentator. Good morning and welcome to Sports.
I told you this morning, I'm going to say it again. You shake me with two hands. Welcome me. Snap at me. Yeah, shake me with two hands. Welcome me. With two hands. Don't use one hand and shake me. I'll shake you too with two hands.
I blame Real Madrid. It's not your fault.
Comrade Soko, I'll shake you too with two hands. With two hands.
Thank you. Welcome to the sports show this morning. All right, the first timer on the now streaming sports today, we have Stanley Wusu. Stanley Wusu, welcome to now streaming sports.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers. Good morning. Let's do this.
All right, thank you. And we have joining us virtually all the way from Delta State, Comrade Abraham Soko. Comrade, welcome. Good morning and welcome to Now Streaming Sports.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm shaking Mr. Raphael with my two hands right now.
All right, thank you so much. And we will also have joining us virtually Prince Kelechi. Prince Kelechi is a registered NFF referee, and afterwards we'll have also joining us a little bit later on the show Dr. Edesiri Izu, also a sports analyst. Viewers, remember to call in and via the number showing on your screen, or equally sending your comments via our various social media handle also showing on your screen. But before we go ahead talk sports, let's look at the front page of the Punch Sports Extra, and the list story says, at last Gunners beat champions to reach UEFA Champions League semi-finals after 16 years wait. That's a lot.
You can see why he's shaking you with two hands.
That's on page 6 of Punch Sports Extra. And above the masthead, we have Dele Bashiru Desars Bologun in must-win Europa quarter-final clashes. That's also on page 6. Page 6 has a story on Osimhen to decide future in May. All right, and page 6, lastly on page 6, Sadiq reflects on Sociedad's struggles. And beside the masthead, we have the story on Unity Cup Nigeria versus Ghana tickets cost up to 532,000 naira. All right, that's quite high. Page 4 has a story on Zikezi out for rest of the season, and Arsenal keen on Gordon's deal. Page 3 now has a story on Karinga's. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Griezmann agrees new Atletico deal. Page 3 has Bayern prepared £100 million for Wagner's bid. All right, sorry for that. Then finally on page 2 says Diamond League confirms Amisan for season's opener. All right, so back here in the studio, let's now pick the stories one after the other, and let's talk about first and foremost. I'll take a few seconds silence to celebrate or to commiserate the passing to glory of the former Super Eagles player, former Super Eagles coach, and one of the Nigerian Premier League coach in the person of Christian Chukwu, who passed on in the course of the week. So please, let's just take a few seconds silence to commiserate his. May the soul of Christian Chukwu and all those who have passed rest in peace in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. So let's talk about Christian Chukwu. Christian Chukwu has contributed a lot to Nigerian sports, having records of him as a coach of the Super Eagles, and even coaching some of other the NPFL clubs in Nigeria. So let's start from you, Raphael. What do you have to say about Christian Chukwu?
He didn't start by coaching the Super Eagles and coaching teams in NPFL. Mind you, he was the captain of the first team that won the 1980 Nations Cup. He was I've forgotten the name they called him. I think the chairman or thereabout.
Yeah, he's a chairman.
His time with the Super Eagles, of course, as a footballer then, cannot be, cannot be thrown away. We know how much he has put into the team during his time with the Shegun Odegbami and Mesemeka and co. And then came into the. It was also, if you check, it was also part of the '94 squad
Yeah,
that
he
won the
was.
Nations Cup as an assistant coach behind Clemens Westerhoff, Johannes Boffrey, and then you have Christian Chukwu. And also, on several occasions, he has taken the Super Eagles to AFCON and winning some laurels also with the Super Eagles. And also coaching the Kenyan national team at some point. I think he's one of those few Nigerian coaches that first went out to coach countries outside before people like Stephen Keshi went with Togo, Emmanuel Amunike to Tanzania, and what have you. So I think is one person that you can rightfully say is a legend of the Nigerian game, from being the Super Eagles captain with the AFCON glory to being an assistant coach with the same Super Eagles winning the AFCON in 1994, and also what's it called, winning some laurels, maybe silver or bronze medals with the Super Eagles still. I think is one that we'll celebrate for time.
All right, so Comrade Abraham Soko, let's come to you, and then the story says that NFF has denied owing Christian Chukwu any sum of money at all, and his son has come also said that the NFF should get ready for charges, that he's going to push and ensure that he gains some of the previously owed allowances and what have you that the Nigerian Football Federation owes Christian Chukwu. Do you think NFF owes Christian Chukwu? And if NFF owes Christian Chukwu, are they supposed to still owe Christian Chukwu?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ebuka. I would want to say that, so you want to answer your question directly, I wouldn't be able to know if NFF owes Christian Chukwu, but going by antecedents, it will not be out of place because, to be honest, the NFF, the Nigeria Football Federation, have had the antecedents of owing our indigenous coaches. And it is very, very sad that they usually behave towards our indigenous coaches in this manner. When the foreign coaches come, they don't owe them. At least there's no record of owing foreign coaches. But when it comes to our indigenous coaches, I don't know if it's as a result of familiarity. I don't know the reason why they actually do this. And it is even worse to know that our indigenous coach, you pay them less than the foreign coach. So it is really, really saddening to see that we have this sort of controversy at this point. I totally agree with Mr. Raphael that Christian Chukwu is an icon of Nigerian football. As he rightly mentioned, he was the captain of our 98 team. He also coached Nigeria to the bronze medal in the AFCON 2004. So it's an icon of Nigerian sports. It's a grassroots man. So it is really saddening that at this point we are battling with we are hearing such information of owing of salaries. It is really, really saddening. Thank you, Mr. Ebuka.
All right, thank you. Now, moving away from that story, let's move ahead and talk about the African Women Volleyball Club competition that just ended over the weekend. We want to let you know that Zamalek of Egypt has emerged as the champion again. This is the third consecutive time they are the defending champions, and they have also emerged as the champions of the 2025 African Women Volleyball Club competition, and the finals took place on Sunday at the Moshood Abiola International Stadium Indoor Arena. And on your screen, you see the match against Zamalek versus Al Ali of Egypt. All both from Egypt. Both teams that emerged that got to the finals were from Egypt. And after the match, we had a lot of appraisers coming from both the visitors, the teams, the team managers, the board of management of the African Confederation of the African Volleyball, where we have the president right there on the screen, alongside the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, also on the screen. And at the end of the competition, we have the following players awarded. We have the outside hitter. We have Mohammed. That she is from CFFC. We also have another awards from Elali Bokan. She also won the award for outside hitter, and then we have the award for middle blocker, which goes to attacker, and she's from KPC of Kenya. We have also another award, or as you can see on your screen, the middle blocker May, also from Al Ali, and the opposites we have from Zamalek winning the award. And the most valuable player goes to Matwali Mohammed Mariam from Zamalek, and she has the award for this year's edition. So we want to join hands with everyone to congratulate the Nigerian Customs Service and the Grand Patron of the Nigerian, in person of Nigerian First Lady, on the successful hosting of the 2020, the 39th edition of the African Women's Volleyball Club competition. And with that, we move ahead to that of the National Sports Commission. Gentlemen, the 22nd edition of the National Sports Festival, Target Away Games 2024, is going to hold from the 16th of May to the 30th of May 2025, and everything is set to be ready. So, well, let me start from you, Mr. Stanley. Let's talk about grassroots sports involvement. We know that over the years we've recorded a lot of discovery at our own national sports festival, and this is the 22nd edition. Let me hear from you. What do you think about the sports festival, especially in regards to grassroots development?
Okay, like I will say, it brings out a lot of talent, because as we all know, we have a lot of talents in Nigeria. Especially, there's this one we used to do back then when I was in secondary school. They used to call it a National School Sports Festival, Nigerian Nationals. I remember I attended one in Calabar. I represented my school, Christ the King College, on it in table tennis, with my coach that time, umpire Patience. Her soul rest in peace. Now she's late. So when we got there, we discovered that a lot of boys in Nigeria that you don't know are really they are really good in different sports. The guy that won, he was from, I think, Ibadan, Ayo. Ayo plays like he's from China. You know the way Chinese people play. Yes, that's the way Ayo plays. Me, I came fourth. That time, yes, I was in junior secondary school. I came for doubles, not singles. I came for doubles.
In junior secondary school, that was why I came for.
No, we play.
He said, I'm in junior secondary school.
I represented my school for junior secondary. That time I was still in junior secondary school.
Levels,
Yeah, I came fourth in the doubles, and I came like 17th in the singles. So, but what I'm driving at is from that one, I've not witnessed the national one, but from that one, those ones I just watch and hear. But the one I witnessed, you see that there are a lot of talents in Nigeria running around the streets that I think we need to do better. Now let me chip it into the football part. Now when you come to our national team, when you see these guys play, most times you will be like, are these the same people we watch in Europe? Are they still the ones? You see that most times the passion, the zeal is not there.
Not there.
Quote me anywhere. Most times they play as if the passion, the zeal is not there. They play as if they are just playing for the money. They are not playing for the badge. Although you can't tell, maybe some of these guys on the street, if you still pick them up, maybe they might go there and get to that level and still do the same
thing.
But let's call a spade a spade. I think we should pay this. It's an opportunity for me. I see it as an opportunity to raise more talents and include them to Nigerian sports, not just football, in all areas.
Thank you so much. Let me come to you, Prince Kelechi. Prince Kelechi, the 22nd edition of the National Sports Festival is expected to kick off a few weeks from now. So let me find out from you, Prince Kelechi. how do you think this year's edition is going to play out? With having in mind that Ogun State says they are ready, they are fully ready to host the national.
And kudos to Ogun State for emerging the host and getting ready for the National Sports Festival. Just like the last speaker said, I must say the National Sports Festival is an avenue for us to discover more talent. Okay, Nigeria have a lot of discover them if we don't put up games like this. So I see the National Sports Festival as an avenue to discover raw talent. Talent you're going to put in use for the future, and to see that the sports section in the country goes ahead in a long way. I think last 2 years thereabout, the National Para Games that are held in Abuja, it got to discover raw talent in terms of para football, in terms of the amputee football, sorry. So you see, when you organize these games, you get to bring out talent, hidden talent. The previous edition of the National Para Games had Lagos and Kwara State as the leading states. Okay, but having expanded the games, I can categorically tell you now that I don't think Lagos and Kwara can withstand Kano State in terms of amputee football, with the structure you put on ground, with the talent they've got to discover and things like that. So I see the sports festival as an avenue to discover more talent, because I think that was February, just some few months ago. Some players from the Kano State amputee football just signed with some Turkish team. So that's to show you the extent at which this sport can go. You get to discover more talent, get to take up off-street persons. Some people don't even know they have this talent until they go for these games, and sure with that they get to establish themselves. So I see it as a forum to discover more talent, and see how it goes. I wish them all the best. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kelechi. Let's now move away from a Nigerian scene and go to the African scene before we now go into the world scene. Let's talk about the under 20 African Cup of Nations, and the tournament is expected to start by next weekend, and it's running from April 27th to May 18th, 2025, and the host country is Egypt. And so we're having 13 teams participating, including our own country, Nigeria, alongside defending champions Senegal, host Egypt, and even the first timers Sierra Leone earned it on the 20 World African Cup of Nations. So let me come to you, Comrade Abraham Soko, and let's find out from you. Senegal has come out to protest Tunisia's inclusion and petition SCAF. Do you think? What do you have to say about this petition? What Senegal has come out to say, and what is your own view or your own contribution in regards to this petition?
Okay, thank you very much. To be honest, I'm not really aware of the details of this on the 20 petition. I don't know the reason why they are petitioning the inclusion of Tunisia in this tournament. But at this point, what I would want to say is that we have already said it. I want to just talk briefly on the National Sports Festival that Mr. Kelechi said. I feel that this is coming at the right time for us as a nation, because we really need to look at our indigenous sports. We really need to go back to our grassroots. When you mentioned the volleyball club tournament, you saw that both Zamalek and Ali, they are from the same geo-region, and they are from the same country. This is to show that volleyball is promoted in this particular country. They are actually proficient. They are actually very, very good. And even their religion has not even stopped them, because when I looked at the pictures coming from the event, you saw them wearing their hijab, wearing their religious attire.
Yeah.
But that is not stopping these women from playing very well and participating and going very far in this particular sport. So in our own case in Nigeria, what is actually stopping us? Because in most parts of Nigeria don't have this religious impediment, and what is actually stopping us from actually developing our grassroots sport? So it is National Sports Festival is coming at a very very critical time in our nation's sports, and I heard the governor recently coming out to say that Governor Abiodun that we should try as much as possible to publicize the National Sports Festival. If a star is emerging, if a talent is emerging, we should make sure that we sing the talent praises and try to develop this talent. I also want to call on the government to also try to develop our sports and our indigenous talents, because it is really appalling that some of these major tournaments, both in Africa and globally, we are not participating. Now, look at the AFCON tournaments you're talking about. I don't think that Nigeria is participating in that tournament, and it is actually really, really a shame. So, thank you very much, Mr. Ibuka.
All right, thank you, Comrade Abraham Soko. So hello.
Yes, please, can I say something?
Okay, yeah. So before you say something, I want to ask Raphael just a word from Mr. Raphael before I come to you, Prince Kelechi. It's following Egypt's confirmation as the new host. You know, Ivory Coast was supposed to host this edition, and they pulled out almost at the tail end, and then CAF had to go look for another host and got Egypt as the new host of this edition of 2025 on the 20 African Cup of Nations. And so Tunisia was now had to replace Ivory Coast on the list of countries to participate in this edition. So Senegal is saying that no, they don't want to, they object the fact that Tunisia was picked ahead of some other countries to replace Ivory Coast in the on the 20 African Cup of Nations.
I wish I had read what's it called, the petition with which
the
they
petition
sent
was
to
in
CAF,
French.
because what is in French.
Yeah.
Okay, I leave it for them. What I'm trying to say is, what first and foremost want to ask questions. Why was Tunisia chosen? And if Tunisia was chosen, most likely everybody went through the qualifiers. If they were the best in terms of the best losers that made that what's it called, ranking, I think it's right for them to replace Cote d'Ivoire. But then again, I don't think, except maybe Cote d'Ivoire withdrew as a federation. Excuse me, withdrew as a federation, because we've seen countries, what's it called, being stripped of the hosting rights to give it to another nation, but the country still participates in the tournament. Do you understand me? And that's why countries have been made to play qualifiers now. Either you are the defending champion or not, you play the qualifiers, because a lot of teams who win tournaments end up coming to the main tournament and being booted out in the first round because they were not prepared enough, because they felt that the defending champion. So I don't know why Cote d'Ivoire was booted out. Maybe the federation itself pulled out. And then secondly, why is Senegal the one protesting the inclusion of Tunisia? Is there an interest? Like you said, it's in French, so we may not know what is in the body of the petition. But then again, is there an interest? Or maybe, I don't think they are scared of Tunisia being included, because I don't think in terms of age grade football, Tunisia is not one of the powerhouses in age grade football. We said here last week, we're looking at the people who are looking at Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Ghana, Nigeria, and what have you. Like I said, we don't know what's informed their petition, except Cote d'Ivoire as the federation pulled out. They should still be in the tournament. And except Tunisia is one of the best losers in the qualifiers, I don't see any reason why they should be in the tournament they didn't qualify for.
All right, so let me just call out some names of the countries that are available, that are participating in the under 20 African Cup of Nations for 2025. We have Tunisia, we have Zambia, we have Central African Republic, we have Morocco, we have Sierra Leone, we have Ghana, we have Tanzania, Kenya, South Africa, and DR Congo, all in Port 1 of and pot 2 of the competition. We also have teams like Nigeria and Egypt and Senegal also. And then we have Tunisia. Also, I mentioned Tunisia and Zambia. All right, so let's get your thoughts, Mr. Kelechi, on this African under 20 before we now move to the world football.
Okay, thank you very much. Just like Mr. Raphael rightly said, the hosting right was given to Cote d'Ivoire, and they get to pull out at the dying minute. Now that prompted CAF to look for a new host, and that's why it has to move to Egypt, because they had to search around to see a new host, because for Cote d'Ivoire to have pulled out, that destabilized the planning, and then they had to go for Egypt. Now, if you also check around, just like Mr. Raphael have rightly said, I want to believe CAF have looked at the modalities and then picked Tunisia to cover up the blank pile. And then if you check the groupings, there are 3 groups. You agree with me? I think Group A has about 5 teams, 5 different countries. Sorry. While B and C have the usual four countries we have. So CAF is trying to see that they block that loophole, which was created by Cote d'Ivoire. That's why they had to look for a new host and then find another team to take up the free slot. Notwithstanding, Nigeria is getting ready. They are doing their final touches to the competition. We wish them well, and we hope they get to make country proud. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Prince Kelechi. And with that, we're done with the African scene. Let's now move to the world scene, where we will now take a look. We review some of the matches that have been played in Europe and across the other parts of the continent. All right, so let's start with the just concluded first and second leg of the UEFA Champions League quarterfinal. We saw teams like Arsenal going home with the 2 legs victory. They came to England. Real Madrid came to England, and Arsenal won. And Real Madrid went to Bernabeu and also defeated. Arsenal went to Bernabeu and also defeated Real Madrid. So, Comrade Soko, let's come to you right now and let's get your review on the quarterfinal matches of the UEFA Champions League.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll start by Arsenal. I will talk about Arsenal. Actually, after the first leg, which ended 3-0, most of us thought that that particular fixture was done and dusted. But Madrid came up with a term, remontada. Social media, they were talking about closing their roofs, and everybody had that belief, that renewed belief, that Madrid was going to pull a full comeback. So it was actually, the whole match was actually hyped. I was caught in the fever of that remontada fever. And even Jude Bellingham came out to say that, for the over 1 million times you have heard it, that it's going to be remontada. But Arsenal Football Club had a different outlook. They were focused. They were not carried away with the noise, and they were able to pull off an amazing result. They did not only stop the Madrid comeback, they also were able to beat Madrid in Bernabeu. So it's a very, very good one for Arsenal Football Club, and it's a good one generally. I'm really, really impressed with them, and this is not something I see often, but I'm actually impressed with them. Okay, so on Bayern Munich, Inter Milan. Inter Milan is a very, very solid defensive team. They were able to defend. At some point in a particular match, they were down by a goal to and they were able to come back, and they were at a point winning that particular match, and it was only Bayern Munich that was struggling. So it's actually a good one. So I'm looking forward to PSG and Arsenal and Inter Milan and the other
Barcelona
qualifier, the other team that qualified for the semi-final on the 29th. Okay, Inter Milan and Barcelona, that's the other fixture. So it's going to be an explosive one. I hope that Arsenal are able to repeat magic of the quarterfinals in the semi-finals. I wish them well. Thank you very much.
All right, all right. Thank you. Now let's come to Stanley, and let's find out from you. What do you think, or what differently did you see in this year's quarterfinal matches compared to that of last season's quarterfinal?
Thank you very much. I must have to say, I will have to shake our Ever comrade.
These two hands.
Because, like, the whole world wrote Arsenal off. Believe me, even Arsenal fans didn't believe they could pull such a strange. Because although, if we want to say the truth and be honest, Madrid has been struggling. Like I said before we started the show, Arsenal dominated the midfield in that first leg, and that was what gave Real Madrid a problem. And Arsenal has been one of the best defensive teams in England this season and last season. I don't think I don't think I've watched an Arsenal match that they've conceded more than 2 goals this season in a match. I've not watched. If there's any for the all Arsenal matches I've watched, they don't concede more than 2 goals. That shows you that this is a team that knows how to defend. And they have a beast in the goalpost, David Raya. That guy is wonderful. He's something else. So, knowing that Arsenal
can keep more than you, right?
Yeah, no. But in my days as a goalkeeper, I mean, come on. What days are he knows me.
All right, sir.
That guy is fantastically excellent. So, the ball, now, Arsenal, Real Madrid forgot that. I think Real Madrid forgot that Arsenal has an insider who is Odegaard. So me, I feel what happened was simple. Odegaard broke down Real Madrid's play to his fellow teammates. Okay, guys, Alpha, this is not the way we go play this people. This is not the way we play. They dominated that midfield from start to finish of that first leg. And I'll blame Carlo Ancelotti. Like 40% of the blame goes to him. Because I don't know, like he rightly said, all these defending champions, maybe he felt, Real Madrid now, now we get Champions League, something like that. So he underrated Arsenal. Okay, you have Lucas Vazquez. I know that you're struggling with injuries and all, but you have Lucas Vazquez on the bench, and you play him in your La Liga matches sometimes. So why are you benching him on a Champions League night when you know that you need Valverde in that midfield? If you watched the game yesterday, Arsenal didn't dominate that midfield the way they did in the last leg. The first leg, they didn't. It was like a tie. Federico Valverde was pushing. You could see all the whole attack he was trying, even the block shots that Declan Rice cleared and all. Like plenty attempts from him, which shows that midfield was working yesterday. But last week the midfield was paralyzed because there was nobody. You're talking of, okay, Luka Modric, he has the experience, but he doesn't have the strength to carry out what he wants to do. And he's not that kind of a brilliant player like Toni Kroos that does not need to do much, but his impact will be felt. Toni Kroos can just stay where he is and throw one pass to Vinicius, and he runs and scores. And another thing is that I will always say, too much squad kills a team, because they have Rodrigo, they have Mbappe, they have Vini, Bellingham. So they came into that match with a whole lot of confidence. But Arsenal told them it's not about the players now
or names
rather. So I feel it was a good game. Don't get me wrong. Arsenal played beautiful football. For the first time, I supported Arsenal that first leg because of what they played, not because I wanted to support them.
All right. Thank you so much, Stanley. Now, Dr. Isu, let's come to you. Arsenal played a very beautiful game in Emirates Stadium at the first leg, and also played very beautifully at the second leg at Bernabeu. So let's hear from you as a Real Madrid supporter. What do you think Arsenal did differently that Real Madrid did not do to have to succumb to defeat? Dr. Izu.
Anyway, before I go on, I want to say good morning to the team and Good morning to our listeners, our dear esteemed listeners. And then I want to say congratulations to Arsenal, my former love.
Yeah. You said you have to shake him with 2 hands.
I was waiting for that, and then you give me a handshake with 2 hands. 2 hands. You shake me with your right hand and your left hand.
It was whenever I experience it, I must congratulate them. I wouldn't say it was luck, but I think fair play to them. At least, yes, after the first leg, I knew the tie was gone, but
Definitely.
I just wanted at least win
fight,
your home
give them
leg,
something
at
to
least
fight
just give
for,
us
yeah.
something to,
True.
to brag about at least. But second leg was the height of all embarrassment. But that said, apologies, I don't know the guy in blue's name. I didn't hear when you were doing introductions, but he has spoken quite well about what happened. Though he hasn't gone to some extent, which I'll just touch now.
Okay.
The game was lost in the first leg. The game was essentially lost in the first leg. 3-0 was too much a mountain to climb. And how was the game lost? Essentially in 2 or 3 places. Number one is in midfield. You can't play your best or most combative midfielder Valverde at right back. At that point, they considered the midfield rice and beans. Sorry, because Modric has the brains, but again, doesn't have the brawn
The energy,
to match it at this time. So the energy. So that left the midfield. Yes, but let's also not forget that the first 2 goals were from free kicks, which you can't blame anybody. But losing Valverde is the heart of that midfield. And so playing him at right back, now you have exposed the midfield. He will now be more defensive than offensive.
Exactly.
Secondly, playing David Alaba, who just came from injury, who has not got much match fitness, at left back. Whether he was underrating the Arsenal's offensive weapon, that's Saka on that wing, or he did not believe so much, or he didn't believe so much in his substitute left back. Because Mendy was really injured. But he also had Frank Garcia. Sir?
Comrade Soko, please, can you mute your mic? Comrade Soko, please, kindly mute your mic. Thank you. Dr. Isu, please go ahead.
Okay, so as I was saying, why he overestimated Alaba against whoever Arsenal was field on that thing, or he didn't have so much confidence in his deputy left back, that's Frank Garcia. Maybe he's a young man but playing a match rusty Alaba, who has had very serious, it's not 2 weeks injury, 3 weeks injury, months injury. That is something that also contributed to, because he wasn't pushing down that wing. So Madrid was just inshallah FC. They were depending on God in the first leg. And they were right when they said if not for Courtois, it would have gone more than that.
Yeah.
Now, more importantly, it also exposed the gaps in recruitment. The problem with that team in recruitment were glaring, and I'm happy my co-panelists was saying that Madrid has been struggling. They were just winning the games by grace. When last Madrid win the game by 3 goals or 4 goals, it's always maybe come from behind to win 2-1 or 3-1,
exactly.
Or 1-0. Struggling. Even just last week, they struggled to beat Alaves. It's just something that didn't go right. And what was the problem? Recruitment. They won the Champions League last year. They did not strengthen. That centre-back part in amongst the Madrid's defense, the main defender we have is Rudiger. The rest are just beaten by grace. Once Carvajal went injured, we didn't have a reliable right back. That's why we're not playing Valverde at right back. Even Lucas Vazquez, my friend is talking about, he's not a right back.
He's not a right back.
He's a former winger, a retired winger that didn't succeed as an attacking winger. They now brought him to midfield. From midfield, they brought him to start playing right back.
But he can defend.
Imagine a club like Real Madrid did not have reliable deputy wingers. Let me use that word. See Arsenal, they have what's it called? Ben White. They have Timber. They have even Partey can also play right. They have like 2-3 solid options. But Real Madrid did not have that. Same thing at left back. Once Mendy is injured, we start playing even Kamavinga, who is a midfielder, at left back. So they didn't strengthen in central defense. If not for this young boy Raul Asensio, who just came out of the blues, Madrid also did not have a reliable centre back apart from Rudiger. And then you go to midfield. The maestro, Toni Kroos, retired after 10 years, and there was no plan for succession. Not like his retirement was sudden.
Yeah, no
It was well known ahead of the season that he's going. They didn't make any plan to replace him. And then the elephant in the room. This recruitment showed us the difference. Economics said the difference between wants and needs.
And needs.
And yes, and then did Madrid need Mbappe? No, I beg to differ. I've always told my friends from the beginning. If you ask my friends since the beginning of the season, I told them we did not need Mbappe. We needed him last season, but we won the Champions League without him. So it shows that we didn't need him.
True.
So there's no point giving that expensive wage for a team that already won the Champions League without him, showing that they can do without him. And because of the wages they've given to Mbappe, there was no funds to bring in recruitment for other areas that they needed. Now, just yesterday, Tubokota was saying something that's very correct, that they were putting balls in the box, but they did not have Oselu.
True.
And that was correct. Who won the Champions League for them last year? Oselu, for God's sake. When Bayern was
against
holding up
Bayern.
our throne,
Yes, I
who came
remember.
from the bench to score
It was Joselu, yeah, against
Oselu.
Bayern.
If you look at our front three, they are all similar, both in size, in stature, and in style of play. Rodrigo, Vinicius Junior,
All of them are
Mbappe, they
wingers.
all want the ball at their feet. They all want to dribble, then they shoot. They did not have a selfless traditional number 9 who has that killer instinct, who can play for the team, who can sacrifice himself even if he's not scoring, who can inconvenience defenders, drag center back out of position, who can just come in from behind the defender and just get in a header or a poach. You know, they did not have variety. So once you block that style of play with a low block like Arsenal did, the team was toothless. And because Mbappe, if even last season we could play a false 9, you bench Joselu, he will not complain. He's a team player. He wasn't much a big name. So because Oselu was in the team, maybe sometimes in and out, Bellingham was playing closer to goal. So that's why you saw him scoring many goals last season. But this season now, how it can be? Because of Mbappe, you have to manage Mbappe, who is a defensive liability, who is not a traditional number 9. True. Now, Bellingham has to play deeper, and so it's not as close to goal. So once the attack is not scoring, the midfield is also not contributing many goals. And so the difference was the problem was basically on the coach and on the board for not seeing these recruitment gaps. And again, like I said, kudos to Arsenal. My only fear is that Arsenal have a trade. They can beat Man City 5-1 today, and then the next week they'll go and draw with Leicester City. So they may have beaten Real Madrid now. They shouldn't rest on their oars. They are carrying the hope of the whole England now because they're the only English team remaining. They've also beaten PSG.
All right, I think.
Season for the Nations Cup. Ivory Coast.
All right,
so Arsenal has beaten PSG before in the group stages, but this PSG is a different animal. So they shouldn't underrate PSG. They should just go ahead and attack it the way they attack Real Madrid. And if they win, I am committing on this show that if they win if Arsenal wins this UEFA Champions League, I'm going to give Ralph a customized Arsenal jersey as a mark of goodwill. For surviving on the banter and all that. That's just what I'm going for this match. I don't know if you're going to ask me about the Barca and Bayern and Inter,
all right,
but that's also a problem. The Bayern and Inter game went how I predicted it, because the same thing that happened to Arsenal and Real Madrid happened to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich can attack. They don't have a defense. Imagine their central defensive pairing is in and Eric Dyer that is from Tottenham.
Tottenham rejected player.
But he scored the goal.
You know, imagine a Tottenham that's already a very wonderful club. Let me not call them something on air now. Rejecting a player and giving you almost for free is now your first choice central defender. Forget that he scored yesterday. That's not the matter. But somebody says attack wins you games, defense wins you championships. If, for example, as Hurricane scored that 1-0. They were able to defend it. Worst come to worst, they go to extra time. And anything can happen. But they couldn't defend. When last the Bayern Munich keep a clean sheet? When last? Even in the German league that they used to dominate. That's number one. They didn't recruit properly. Instead of recruiting a defender that they needed, they were going to buy Olise.
That they didn't need.
Had winger.
You have Musiala, you have Kobe.
A lot. They have Nabri, they have Sane, they have Musiala, they have and you still go and buy Olise.
Kingsley Coman is still there.
Defense is gaping. when your defensive midfield is gaping. Joshua Kimmich is not a defensive midfielder. He's a defensive ball player, a deep line playmaker. So when push comes to shove, they can't protect the defense. Now, on top of that, you want to bring a youth copper coach who just relegated Burnley, who has only had one season in top flight. Imagine buying an aircraft and you give him to a downfall driver to pilot. That's what you will get now. So that's essentially the problem. And you are playing against Inter, who made the Champions final just about 2 or 3 seasons ago, who have a seasoned coach, who have a balanced team, both in attack and defense. Like Comrade Okorodu was saying, they can defend for a living, they can defend their lives. If that game was to go on for 1 more hour, Bayern Munich should not score, I can bet you. True. Because they were balanced. But look at Bayern Munich, once Neuer is out of the team, even Neuer is old glory, is just like Samson, I will go out like before. You know, they again. Same thing with Real Madrid, you know, they again. So once Neuer is out of the team, look at the defense is naked. The defensive midfield is naked, no protection in the attack. But to be fair, the attack did their bit. They scored 2 goals. They scored home and away. Defense couldn't do their job. So that's a lesson to all of us that it's one thing to want something, but do you really need it? They wanted Olise. He was available on the cheap. He wanted to leave Crystal Palace. Did they need him just like Real Madrid needed Mbappe? No, they did not. They had several coaches on the market. See what Barca did with Flick. See what Barca did with Flick. They had Xavi, who is their own legend. But the moment Flick became available on the market, they had Xavi no vex. But you know what? You have to go. At times, you need to make that decision. No emotions. But see, Bayern Munich, they start Tuchel. They re-employed it. Okay, no, we'll not sack you again. Okay, you know what? It was to go at the end of the season. Later, okay, don't go again. The man said, they go. And he left. There was no plan. They had to go for company for God's sake. So those are the problems. And I'm happy that this year's Champions League is showing us that name can only get you thus far. Ability and expertise will eventually get you over the line. So I'm happy. I'm congratulating the 4 semi-finalists, even though I don't like Barca, but I must give them their due credit, and I'm looking forward to a Barca versus Arsenal final, a repeat of 2006 final, and then we hope that maybe Arsenal can correct the wrong of the last time. Thank you so much. Congrats for all right. Particularly.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Isu, before we let you go, because this is the point where I let you go on the show, I'm going to remind you what you said a couple of weeks back, that if Arsenal wins the Champions League, that you will no longer come on this show. So let me bring it back to you and ask you if that still stands. And if that still stands, who are you tipping to win the finals of the 2025 UEFA Champions League? And then lastly, you are tipping, or you're giving, you're saying you're going to give Raphael a branded, customized Arsenal jersey if Arsenal wins this league, this year's Champions League. I'm asking you in regards to my producer, who is also an Arsenal fan, and a couple of other people who are also friends to Arsenal fans. To find out from you if you got the Declan Rice branded rice that Arsenal fans have been sharing since last night. Have you gotten your own share?
I've got to. All right. So, on a more serious note, I'm not. For those who know me, I'm not somebody to just play around with my words. I mean it. If Arsenal wins this year's Champions League, because of your request, now I'm going to add Comrade Gossen. He has really suffered. For the soon.
What of the friends of Arsenal fans? How about friends for Arsenal fans?
The Arsenal fans are much, so why just 2 of them?
Prince Kelechi, please off your mic. Please off your mic. Kelechi, please off your mic.
No.
Very serious matter here. Let's discuss it.
No, please off your mic.
You came to oppress us.
I don't know my friend as an Arsenal fan. I know him as a referee.
Referees
I know are impartial.
They're very impartial. They're in the middle.
And they belong to nobody.
Yes, exactly.
So in fact, that referee is supposed to be consoling me now. What I'm so the referee is supposed to umpire like INEC. He can't be taking sides.
Yes.
So please, INEC. So this matter is purely for the partisan people. So like I said, I'm promising as Godsent and Comrade Godsent and Comrade Ralph, those two customized jersey on my honor. If Arsenal somehow manages to win the Champions League, however, more seriously speaking, I believe the winner of the Barca versus Inter game is likely to win this Champions League.
True.
That's what I think. Barca has the upper hand, but as a Real Madrid fan, I don't want Barca to win the Champions League because the team will be too much Atarodo, too much pepper for me. So I would rather Inter win it because they've also suffered so many times. They've been the less privileged Italian side. Juventus is bigger than them. AC Milan has more Champions League. So even Roma has won Europa League. Inter nothing to show for it. So at least this would be a good thing. And then somebody brought a statistic that I saw recently that each time Germany is hosting the Champions League final, it's always the first timer that wins, or somebody who's not won serially before that usually wins the Champions League. So for that, it might favor Arsenal or PSG because they are first timers. But as it is based on form and based on pedigree, I still think that the person who wins Barca versus Barca versus Inter Milan semi-final has the upper hand, win the Champions League of 2025. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Izu, for being on this show this morning. We hope to have you in our subsequent editions. All right, now let's come back to the studio. Rafael, in 60 seconds, let's just have your review.
60 what?
60 seconds.
Arsenal fan. The liar.
60 seconds. Let's have your review.
You allow my neighbors to discuss my matter. They gossip about me, finish. They call this time and we go talk. Anyways, I'm very happy that Dr. Izu, I said behind camera that whenever we enjoy bantering ourselves on this show, and it's a healthy one, and we all laugh about it and enjoy the moment. I was saying that I'm waiting for him to hear his response after the game yesterday, because Arsenal have gotten used to people. When Arsenal loses, we get banter. When Arsenal wins, like when we won against Man City 5, people still banter Arsenal. So I'm wondering, what do you want to gain from this team? Do you understand? But like
results, trophies.
Everyone rightfully wrote of Arsenal, both first leg, second leg. In fact, in this second leg, I struggled to watch it because of everything that had played out during the course of the week. They are going to close the stadium. They will sing, so everywhere will be loud. They will close the roof. They will not come out through the normal tunnel. They will come out somewhere else. The 90 minutes is very long in Bernabeu. They will give their youth team will give them guard of honor as they are entering. There was a lot. At a point, I was telling comrades, what's it called? The producer rather. I was telling him that I say I will just find somewhere. I also told Comrade Soko, I'll go find I go this stroll during the period where they watch this game. So I'll just walk out for road. Because at some point it was as if I was watching the Super Eagles and Cote d'Ivoire in that final. My heart was in my mouth. But one thing I told my younger brother was this: if they play the first 15-20 minutes and there is no goal, forget it. Whatever game plan that Madrid actually didn't have a game plan. If you watch that game, all they had was just play the ball in the 18. And you had players, someone like Kiwior, kudos to him, who was winning all the area balls. Yeah. And then you had Saliba. And if not for Saliba's nonchalant behavior on the pitch, that would have been a clean sheet 2-0 or 3-0 if Saka had put in that penalty. So, kudos to Arsenal. Kudos to, at the point I learned the whole Spanish, Spain was supporting Arsenal.
Yeah.
Even
Against
though,
Real Madrid.
Yes, against Real Madrid, even though Arsenal had lesser tickets to go in, and there was not even Arsenal jersey again for people in Spain. They were asking for jerseys abroad. I heard what he said. The PSG Arsenal is going to play. It's not the PSG Arsenal played before, because they've grown over time. They've improved over time, and they've become something else entirely. So it's going to be a game for all to see. And mind you, Arsenal is in the midst of two teams they played during the qualifiers: Inter Milan and PSG. Arsenal only lost to one of these two, which was Inter Milan. That was the only game Arsenal lost through the ranks. And the last time Arsenal made it to the final, they lost only one game, and they've lost that game against Inter Milan. So let's look out for Arsenal in the final
with whoever is coming.
That is if they make it to the final.
That's if they make it to the final.
We'll come and remind you here.
All right, thank you, thank you so much, gentlemen. So, Comrade Abraham Sokol, just in 60 seconds, let's hear your review and your prediction. Who are you tipping to win the Champions League 2024-2025 season?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ebuka. I'm going to be tipping PSG to win the Champions League because
that hand will take PSG go use Tipex clean am
and their midfield in the likes of Neves and Vitinha is very, very mobile. I don't think that Declan Rice and Odegaard will be able to control these individuals, and their attack is very, very, very formidable. You have the likes of Dembele, and you have the likes of Do, Bakola, and Karavinga, the other guy from Georgia. So it's going to be a very, very tough one for Arsenal. So I would want to add my voice to Dr. Izu by promising Prince Kelechi one branded Arsenal GC. Let it not look like he's being left out from the whole.
We will hang all those jerseys on this studio that day.
So I'm going to, if Arsenal can win the Champions League, he's going to get a branded Arsenal jersey from me. Thank you very much.
Comrade, you need to complete the number and give me one.
So see people.
Already giving you now.
Dr. Izu is not giving me. Dr. Izu is giving the producer and Raphael. So all right.
Can you see what Arsenal is doing? Arsenal is bringing joy.
all right. So before we conclude, let's hear Prince Kelechi. Prince Kelechi, I know you're an Arsenal fan, so I wouldn't want you to tip somebody else. I don't know if you would tip somebody else to win this year's season of the UEFA Champions League. So let's hear from you before we will take the final word.
This is my response already. This is my response.
All right. Thank you so much for being so brief. But Mr. Stanley, are you tipping anybody else to win? A lot of persons have tipped.
He may tip Man U. I'm looking at it.
Man U.
Who are you tipping? All right, who are you tipping for?
Okay. In the spirit of brotherhood, in the spirit of brotherhood, and let's just say because they've not won it before. I mean, let's maybe they have a chance if they can go through PSG. I think Arsenal have a big chance because one thing I like about their game is Arsenal is hardly under pressure. Whenever you watch them play, they are hardly under pressure. So if they can find a way and perform the magic they did at Bernabeu and Emirates, if they can do that in Paris again and replicate that in England again, I think Barca is good, but Inter is also a side to fear because we are not even sure yet Barca will go through Inter. That match is also a very good one because both sides are good, attacking wise, defensive. You have prolific strikers like Lautaro Martinez and Thuram. So those guys are not here to joke with. They also have a good defense. Bastoni, Dumfries, their goalkeeper too, Jan Sommer is something else. So I think for me, I would rather say this year's Champions League is still open. Okay. The 4 teams remaining are good teams, and you can't just write any of them off saying that this one no. So I think it is not yet over until it's over.
All right. So having in mind that Stanley, having in mind that United couldn't win their last Premier League game, and now they are up against Lyon on the second leg, and they drew at the first leg. What do you think? What's your tip? Just straight, not too much words. Straight. What's your pick? Man U against Lyon.
God, I beg.
No more words.
Anyway, if Man U can play the way they played last week at Lyon and avoid unnecessary silly mistakes at the back, Man U is not a better team, but they have better chances of winning because they are at home. They are playing at Old Trafford tonight. Yeah. So if they can avoid
scoreline,
silly mistakes,
scoreline,
maybe I give them like 2-0 or 2-1.
All right. Thank you for that. So Raphael, let's now look at the Europa game against Frankfurt versus Tottenham Sports. Let's say the first leg ended a 1-1 draw. So let's just
giving it to Frankfurt. Not for any banter or anything. Frankfurt is a good team. And I think that's where Mamouche came out from. And if we check even in the Bundesliga, they're doing really, really, really good. And of course, you know where Tottenham is in the EPL.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen, for being part of the show this morning. It's a pleasure to have you, our first time, Stanley Moose, to join us on the show. We hope to have you more on the show. So thank you very much. And thank you to all the Arsenal fans, Prince Kelechi and Mr. Raphael Oja Okomo for being part of this show today. Thank you, Dr. Izu, for finding time out of your busy schedule. And to our own comrade Abraham Soko, who is always having time for us. We say thank you for being part of the show today. Viewers, this is where we draw the curtain for today's edition. Remember to be able to classify your needs and your wants, just like we pointed out within the show today, how some teams were able to utilize their wants against their needs, and some others have not been able to do so. All right, so as we go on and as we continue in the spirit of Lent and in the period of Easter, let's remember the reason why we are celebrating Easter. Christ is the reason for the season, and we should acknowledge the fact that he has risen and he died for our sin, and we should not also remain in our sinfulness. Until we come your way again next time, I remain Chukwu Ebuka Ike, and bye bye for now.